Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the courtesy, Mr. Speaker. I thank the gentleman for yielding and for his leadership on this critical issue. Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to H.R. 3961, which, rightly understood, is just the latest deficit spending bill championed by my Democrat colleagues here on Capitol Hill. It is, in a very real sense, an addendum to the government takeover of health care that was just rammed through this House just 2 short weeks ago with a price tag in excess of $1.3 trillion. You know, the President of the United States just said in China, quote, if we keep adding to the debt, even in the midst of this recovery, people could lose confidence in the U.S. economy, close quote. Maybe it'd help if the President said that in America instead of China. Then maybe his party would get the message. 2 days ago, we learned the national debt just pushed past $12 trillion. That means every man, woman, and child in this country bears the burden of more than $38,000 in federal government debt. October alone, the deficit reached $176.4 billion, and now comes one more deficit spending bill to facilitate passage of a government takeover of health care. Under the guise of helping doctors and seniors, this one will cost taxpayers and future generations $200 billion. And it all goes straight to deficits and debt. One analysis by the Heritage Foundation estimates the cost of this bill over 75 years, nearly $2 trillion. And Medicare premiums are estimated to increase by some $50 billion. It seems there's no level of spending and debt that Washington Democrats aren't willing to pile on struggling families and future generations. We're here today considering this latest deficit spending bill because Democrat leaders refuse to address health care reform in a fiscally responsible way. It is worth noting that this so-called doctor's fix was a part of earlier versions of health care reform, but to perpetrate the fiction that their government takeover of health care was passed in a fiscally responsible way, we are doing this addendum to the Pelosi health care bill. The truth is, the spending policies of this Congress and this administration are a fiscal time bomb being placed on the doorstep of our children's future. We have a responsibility to put our fiscal house in order. And sadly, there are those who would rather pursue an ambitious liberal agenda, no matter what the cost, at the possible expense of our children's posterity and prosperity. There is a Republican plan which we support. It will fix the problem that we're trying to address over the next 4 years. It will pay for the bill. It will lay the groundwork for meaningful health care reform and by ending an era of defensive medicine. This is, I just hasten to repeat, this is just one more deficit spending bill in an era when the American people are bone weary of runaway federal spending. Frankly, when Republicans were in control, we did our share of deficit spending, and the American people showed us the door. What we have here in Washington, D.C., as evidence today, is runaway federal spending on steroids. You know, there's a rule back in Indiana, where I grew up, when you're in a hole, stop digging. Today we're going to dig the hole of the deficit even deeper, and the American people deserve better. I urge my colleagues to oppose this measure.
The gentleman from California.
Fourth Republican plan.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself.